one of you feels welcome. Listen, Destiny back on a Mental Health Monday. Hey, hello, hi, and how are you doing? I hope well. I hope great. I hope exceedingly and abundantly, above all things, you are in a good space and a healthy place with your mental. Let's tap in. This video really is about that. Are we doing the work, tapping in and checking in with our people? Are we in tune with those we already know struggle with mental health? I ain't talking about the ones we don't know, because if you don't know, you don't know. But when you know, you know. Are we checking in on those people? Are we keeping them close to the vest? Do we have a rotating list of days throughout the week that we're picking up the phone calling? We're shooting over some text messages, and absolutely, definitely, we are stopping by and laying eyes on them. We absolutely know they're good. Are we doing the work with our people? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Oh my gosh, I love Mental Health Mondays. They're very close and personal to my heart. I struggle with mental health myself. I do many mental health videos. And some of them I talk about my mental health, not all of them. I stick to the topic and I don't make them all personal. But in this one I will, because it's been a while since I've done that. I struggle with depression. I struggle with anxiety. I have OCD. I think I have adult ADHD. Don't know yet. Never been diagnosed. I probably will never go get diagnosed. You read about it, you hear about it, you hear other people tell their stories, and you kind of relate it to like, yeah, I'm probably tapping into that as well. It is what it is. I think I'll manage and navigate well with it, with the different things I have. I've never even sought out therapy for any of them. I think I'm well aware of them, and I think I manage them using my own self-giving tools. I know when I'm all over the place and going here, and like a fisherman, I know how to reel it in. I know how to reel things in to get me back where I like to be. Not always. There's been a few dark times, dark places that I've been in that I couldn't see my way out. And I think time helped over time. Maybe a few words from people who care. But other than that, mental health is very serious and it's very difficult to deal with. I think, again, I navigate mine well. So I encourage you, if you know someone that is struggling, do the work, check in on your people, please. Check in on your people. There's no sense in knowing someone struggles with mental health, and you do nothing. You're never checking in. Like, how can you know a person has a mental health problem and you never check in, and the next thing you know is you hear they're no longer with us? How do you sit with yourself? Because even when you're keeping tabs and keeping up with people on a regular basis, do you know the guilt people walk away feel like, oh my gosh, I was supposed to call them yesterday and I didn't. Or they text me and I forgot to reply. Or I had a missed call. That's a natural given. That's like unforeseen. People just, oops, I didn't respond to something when I wish I had. It doesn't really matter. I don't know why we have that guilt. It doesn't matter. They're gone. But it's just that, oh, they were trying to reach me and I didn't respond. They probably passed on thinking I didn't care or I was ignoring them. It's probably that. But when you're never checking on a person, I imagine it feels worse than that. Because you're like, gosh, I hadn't talked to them in 3 months. It's been 2 years. That's got to hit different. It did for me when my sister passed at the top of the year. We were best friends from children. I moved away. Distance, time, and a few circumstances caused us not to be as close, of course. We're grown, separate lives, moved on, moved away. So we weren't best friends actively when she passed. And I felt bad. Because I'm like, Dad, I should have been... we were in touch because she was definitely keeping tabs with me on her medical, different things. But it wasn't like we were best friends. Hanging out because we weren't living in the same state. On the phone all the time. She was taking medication. She would go to bed early. I got these crazy, wild work schedules. I'm anemic, so I get lethargic. I'll crash and go to bed. Like, just, I felt bad. I felt like not bad, but I felt like I could have done better, and I wished our bond had still been what it was. Well, you know what? Why do I even wish that? The hurt would have probably been worse. It's just weird how mind takes us places. Like, we weren't at a crazy, we weren't at a space in our lives because there was any type of fallout or we weren't cool. It wasn't that. We were just living life. You know, as we say, life be lifing. So that's all it was. It was nothing more than that. I had another sister friend a few years back, same thing. We unfortunately were going through life challenges at the same time. In another video tonight, I spoke about my depression and some, not me being suicidal, family, but suicidal thoughts. And during that time, I was going through that very rough moment. She was battling cancer. I did not know it at the time. Some of her disconnects with me had me wondering, like, what's going on, what's going on? And I remember having a conversation about depression to her. And in that moment, I felt very selfish, like, you talking about depression, and her life is dwindling away to cancer. If I think about it in this moment, they're almost the same, because depression, when you get to the point of suicidal thoughts, and then other people that go beyond that, actual suicide attempts or even success at it, right? Death is death. Whether hit by a car took you to death or cancer took you to death, depression drove you crazy to death or cancer took you to death, the end result could unfortunately be the same. But in that moment, I still felt bad, like, you want her to listen to your depressed issues. But then, again, this was before I knew about the cancer diagnosis, so let's just get that clear. And even after I found out, I had to separate myself from her songs. I felt like I wasn't as supportive because I couldn't be. I was at a place where I didn't want to be here anymore, right? I don't want to be here. Mentally, I've checked out, and if somehow physically my physical being could no longer be here, I would be okay with that. That's where I was. How do you have that conversation with a person with cancer? I'm over here dying and don't want to, and trying to do chemo and everything I can to stay relevant and alive, and you over here talking about death. Y'all see where I'm going with that? You can't even measure them. So I had to step away from being a supportive sister friend to her because I mentally wasn't there. There were times I wished I had switched roles with her. Baby, you want this depression? I will take cancer. There were 1 or 2 times throughout, and it was a very short time we were in this space. It wasn't very long, to be clear. This might have been, I'm going to say 30 days or less. About a month. I could go as long as, say, 2 months, but I just want you to know, I'm not talking about years. Like, she battled with cancer for 4 years, and I was in, it was like a very, very short time frame. I'm going to say 1 to 2 months, because quickly I pulled myself out of it. But in that moment, before I knew she had cancer, I just couldn't understand why I was having certain conversations with her, and it was kind of like, yeah, that's not serious. Then when I found out, I understood, but then it became a battle. Like, I want to talk about depression, and you want to talk about cancer. And ultimately, we're going to think cancer is more important. You need to put your stuff aside. But baby, depression ain't that easy. Oh, baby, it ain't cancer, but it ain't that easy. Let's sit in there. So, when I say I felt bad, and I needed to be there better for her, but when your mental ain't right, it is what it is. It's not that you're making a conscious decision not to be there. When your mental is checked out, you can't be yourself, much less be decent for anybody else. It just is what it is. So those are the reasons I wasn't there. That was the reason I wasn't there. And then the other sister friend, just what it was. We just were in 2 different places in life. We were checking in, we were talking, we were keeping up. And like I said, I shouldn't wish we were closer, because then the hurt just probably would have been that much. I mean, it was already hurtful, but yeah, that's all tagged into this mental health video. Really, it's important to do the check-ins, though. It's important to do the check-ins, check on your people. Death is death. No matter where you are in a person's life and in a place, it's going to hit you how it hits you, whether you're talking every day or not. But I advise, I encourage you, not to let that sit on your watch that you know somebody in struggle and you ain't checking on them. Matter of fact, just get out their life. Leave them alone. If you can't check on a person you know struggling, you're not a good person for them. That's not a good place to be in, to know. And you can't consume your life with their issues. Trust me, I know. It's overbearing, it's overwhelming, and it's draining. But you could tap in. That's why it's called a check-in. I can't give you my soul. I can't give you every minute, every second of my day. But baby, I'm gonna check on you, make sure you're good at some point or another. That's why it's called a mental health check-in. Are we doing the work, family? Are we checking in on our people? I would hope so. I'm gonna get off this topic. Just because I'm gonna get off this topic. We're gonna move on to the next one. I thank you all for watching. Drop that in the comments if you will. Anything you want to add to mental health? Any mental health topics you want to hear about, you want me to cover, drop in the comments. And I promise you, you will see a video created on it. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Keep watching. See you next time.